Hey, Flowmies, it's time for another edition of the ITF Flowcast. And this week we are doing the preamble to the IWCA convention coming up next week. So I've got Luis Martinez on. He's going to be talking with us a little bit. Well, first about his growth, because he was one of the first people that we had on the Flowcast. We got to see, if you want to go back to season 1, listen to his podcast. His interview is really good to see where he's at. But he's gone so far in just less than 2 years. So it's going to be neat for us to catch up with him. But we're going to also talk about Responsicon. He got to go for the first time, and we'll talk a little bit about some of the things that were going on there, and then we'll talk about the things in the IWCA convention that we're looking forward to, certifications, classes, those types of things that we're going to take. But anyways, it's just Luis is just one of my favorite people to talk to. He's just one of those has the qualities that fit ITF, just friendly, helpful, hoping everybody else does well, as well as he's doing, and just someone that you really want to connect with and really feed off of his positivity. So I know you'll enjoy the interview. So without further ado, let's listen in. Hey, Flowmies, it's time for another edition of the ITF Flowcast, and this week we have Luis Martinez back again for technically his second solo interview, but 3 times on the ITF Flowcast. How you doing, Luis?
Amazing, brother. How about yourself? How's your day going so far?
It's going good. I was just running errands today. I had two vehicles that had to go in the shop, so I dropped one off early and then picked it up and then swapped the other one, and just got home right now with the second one. So everything's running nice and smooth now. So we're getting the trucks ready for the start of our busy season.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
I'm happy to hear you're setting up, and by what I hear, you're really growing your operation.
Yeah, man, I'm getting to where it's starting to. I always had my goals to be off the glass. They were always there and always real, but I don't think they've ever felt this close before, which I'm really excited about. Just awesome. It seems like more and more. Like this week, I only had one job where I was in the field. It was a glass restoration job. There was a graffiti, those acid graffiti on some panes.
I saw that, man.
So I was able to. It's like they're good jobs when you can get them, because one, you have to get the customer being willing to pay for it, and then you got to have the time for it. So it was a 4-hour job, and it was $800, but the customer was happy because it was $1,600 quote for the replacement of those 2 windows. So it's a nice thing when it falls into that nice little category. They're not always like that, So
see, I'm in the same boat as you, because we get asked for glass restoration for like hard water, and I feel like there's not enough people interested. And there's people who travel the whole country doing nothing but glass restoration.
Absolutely. Yep.
I wish I could find somebody and pick their brain that does that.
Yeah. Well, at the IWCA, they'll have the Glass Renew rep. You can talk to them about it.
Oh, yeah, I've taken a few classes. Really, really cool guys. Shout out to Code.
Okay, cool. Well, we'll get to talk a little bit more about the IWCA. But, in preparation for our interview, I listened to your first one you did with FEBA almost 2 years ago, man. Can you believe that?
No, I can't believe it. And I was nervous.
Now you're a little more relaxed talking in the crowd, right?
Yeah, well, you broke the ice. We spoke for like 5 minutes before we started recording. That just went right into it. And I was like, I didn't even know we were recording already.
Yeah, no, it was a really good interview, man. I really, you had if you guys, Flowmies, if you haven't heard it, go back and listen to it. I forget which episode it is, but it was one of our earlier ones.
It was the first one, I think.
No, it wasn't the first one.
No?
The first one was with Jeremiah. I did one with Jeremiah.
Oh, Jeremiah, that's right.
But it was close. It was real close. But you went into a lot of detail about your sales philosophy, and I had forgotten about that, because I adapted a lot of your strategies for sales. Like, I think one of the sayings that you said was the only deal worth getting is the one you negotiated, or something like that. I think I'm paraphrasing.
Oh, that's flattering.
Yeah, and I think about that now. So, like, for instance, when I'll get a customer and I'll go on site and to do a bid, and I'll talk to them. If I want to make sure I'm more comfortable walking away if I feel like I didn't have my input in that bid, or if I feel like they're trying to push their ideas of how things should be done too much. If I don't feel like I have some bit of control, I have no qualms walking away now, which is part of that, adopting that philosophy. So I thought that was really good. But you talked about your sales background, how that helps you with that. Also, you talked about kind of your ups and downs of some of the early business choices, like thinking you needed partners in order to run your business, and I listen to the things he said now, and I'm like, man, he's so much further along now, just in the 2 years. just where you're at, the things that you're talking about maybe doing. You had just won the essay contest, as a matter of fact. And
That's
so
so
that was
crazy.
you're a brand spanking new IWCA member, and now you're on the board. I mean, that's nuts. So
Life is funny, man, but it's good to like reflect and really like make me think on the philosophy of like what you put out to this world you get in return. And that was a very pivotal point of my life. Like a lot of things weren't going right in the background, that I don't like to put out into the world, and I just, something switched. I started surrounding myself with the right people, including yourself, Fernando, and a lot of the other Flowmies, and it just, my whole world turned upside down. So yeah, it's crazy, man. And I've just been on this roller coaster of a ride, mostly, just seeing more ups than downs. And I mean, I hadn't even my fiance at the time, I think. And now I'm getting married. So that it just like proved to me to like continue to put positive out there. And my life's been nothing but like, just happy endings all around.
Yeah. And so now I'm representing, I got the Squeaky Cleaning on there. So your Squeaky Services, right? So you went from window cleaning, although you were always kind of doing a little bit of everything, right? But it just expanded to your name.
Yeah, I've always been doing a little bit of everything. Actually, window cleaning was the second service I added after housekeeping way back in the day.
Yeah. So where are you at now? How many employees?
So I have 2 formal full-time employees. I have a couple guys that if I need help with, I can bring them on board. 5 if you include my fiance, who she's training a couple of things, nothing too crazy, but she does help out a lot on really large jobs that we've had recently. But now I have formal employees. Before I would have like quote unquote employees, but they were under the table, pay them half check, half cash. I hate to admit that. Hopefully Uncle Sam's not listening, but now they're like legit workers' comp and everything.
I'm sure statute of limitations is passed. No worries, no problem. But yeah, in fact, I was just talking with my my number 2 just about that. We I guess I'll just kind of share this now. We just kind of our rates for workers' comp and for above ground cleaning jumped like a lot, like quadrupled.
Wow.
And in Arizona, and they're always up at the end of January. And my agent, I have a broker. She was all excited because last year we had some other options, and she's like, 1 more year we'll be able to put out in the pool. We're gonna get some awesome rates on for you. And she was like shell shocked. She's like, Gabe, I don't know what's going on, man. And just all of a sudden, no one wants to insure window cleaners that are on ladders. So we have to now convert to no ladder work, man.
No way.
This just happened. Yeah. So I was just talking with him about it. He came and dropped off his 24-footer off of his truck. We got to get all the tall ladders off of the trucks. So we're talking. He's like, what are we going to do? And I'm like, well, we'll just adapt, man. If we got to turn down some jobs, we turn down some jobs. As the employer, I can still do that since I'm not really part of workers' comp. I can still do 2-story jobs if needed. But again, my goal is to get off the glass. I'm not looking to get on, to only do ladder work. So, I'll do it when I need to, or when I have to. We have some jobs that we have a couple big contracts that I got to use a lift. So I'll just be the only one on the lift.
Would you be able to subcontract ladder work if it's absolutely necessary?
I don't know. That's what I got to talk with, because the other problem is I have several of the companies that I use me because I do not subcontract, because I only have employees. So I have to make sure I'm not going to risk hurting those jobs, because those are pretty good contracts, and I don't want to lose those ones. So that's why I've never subbed, because I've never wanted to put those contracts at risk. Right. So I don't know. All of this is brand new. It just happened on Monday. I just got the news, so I gotta rethink how to do my business. But at the same time, it's also kind of exciting, because honestly, that since I did that interview with Jeremiah Hickey, because he's all pole work. He doesn't do very little ladder work. I've been wanting to do. That's kind of a goal, is to get my business to there, to minimize that risk for my employees and myself and my clients as well. So is this just kind of pushing me towards that faster than what I had planned? But sometimes that's what you need, right? You need to be kind of pushed off the edge before you figure out if you can fly or not.
Yeah, no
So,
kidding.
but anyways, yeah, that's kind of what's going on in my world. Just trying to restructure my business on the fly. Thankfully, because I'm getting off the glass, I have the time now to do it. You know, it's like I'm not trying to make calls and do stuff while I'm working on a house in a customer's house.
Right.
So that is a blessing that I've got the business to that spot where I can do that in the office as opposed to trying to be doing two things at once and complicating my life that much more. So
Yeah. Congratulations, man. I'm really happy for you.
yeah, thanks. So it's exciting. So you just listening to that interview, you've come a long way in the growth and just the organization of your business. You can, like you said, you can kind of see the evolution of yourself going from a guy who has a business to a businessman, right? Or to business person. So what are some of the things that the big changes you've made in those couple of years that you feel kind of proud of? Like, hey, I kind of feel like I'm legit now because I've done A, B, or C.
Yeah. So one of those things is like you're always going to hear as a business owner, you got to know this, you got to know that, you should do this. And it's really easy to like hear it, but to conceptualize it and actually put it into play is very different. One of the things that I did was hire like an office person. So my bad, I have 3 full-time employees. I forgot a
There you
virtual
go. Yeah.
assistant.
Don't ever forget the office person.
Never. Knowing her, she's absolutely going to listen to this interview. I love you, Ruby. You're the best. Yeah, so I hired a virtual assistant, and that completely took off like a lot of easy money that I was throwing away.
Mhm.
Going back into that sales background, those are hot leads,
Mhm.
and I've really done a good job of like filtering out price shoppers, and we're just getting people who are calling us based on our reviews. But because they see good reviews, they expect someone to answer the phone right away.
Right.
And I think it
Exactly.
was Peter Artusa who we
Mhm.
were out in the convention, and he cursed me out, rightfully so. He's like, "Why the do you not have somebody answering your phone? That's the first thing you're gonna do when you get back." And that's literally the first thing I did when I got back. I
Yeah.
hired a virtual assistant, and shout out to Melody. Um,
Oh yeah.
she's Home Service VA, I think is the name of her
Uh-huh.
company. She's
Uh-huh.
gonna kill me, but I highly recommend her company. She like partnered me up with somebody who has the same personality as me, and we work together extremely well.
Awesome.
And she helped me out with the whole process, so that helped take my business to the next level. I've never really done office work, so it's hard to like tell somebody to do office work when you don't even know what it entails, or like how to be effective at it.
Right.
So she came with some experience already. She's actually helped me out, and she's like, "Hey, like, I told her do the sales for the month. I would just type it out by Microsoft Word." And she's
Right.
like, "Oh, here's a spreadsheet." I was like, "What the
Nice.
Yeah, so that's been really cool. She helps me out with some posting on Instagram as well too. But just the workload that I've been able to give to her like has been a giant piece of mine. And
Mhm.
some of the biggest projects we did last year were because of her. And I know it has to do like those were such quality leads that they have everything to do with answering the phone. The fact that I have
Mhm.
an assistant made me look even more professional. So like was I speaking with your assistant? Or who was that? I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's my assistant." "Oh wow, that's awesome, man." Like, okay, so you guys are legit. The next step that we took is we took our branding to the next level as well too. We have a nice rap band that a lot of people in the community have come to know us for.
Mhm.
Shout out to Nando, who's given me a lot of awesome tips. He's
Yeah.
he's definitely a branding marketing guy. He has his trucks
Yes.
all nice and wrapped up, and people do recognize him around the city. And so I was like, you know what, I'm going to take a page from his book and really implement that. And that's also been very effective. We got our signs outside saying, caution, pressure washing, window cleaning is going on. And then it has our phone number. We've gotten a few phone calls from those little signs already. It makes it look professional. And it also just, detours people from getting around like areas where we're going to be, overspraying some water or chemical.
Right.
Um, I was fortunate enough to be part of the Level Up scholarship program,
Oh, nice.
and basically what it does is just like really add structure to your business. It was only 3 months. And it's really just to kind of dip your toes on what it is to professionally structure your business, how to know the numbers and what each employee is making per hour for you, and how to build systems. So that's something that I started implementing now. Is I have systems for my guys when they're out on the field. They have a checklist that they have to go through, just quality control, and we get to know if somebody's at fault, where did we go wrong, and where can I improve as an owner as well too. And I think that's probably been the biggest thing, was that Level Up program. Just really helped me get a lot of structure to my business, where I didn't know some numbers. I didn't know my monthly sales, or I hate to admit it, but that's true. And I know a lot of people who are making a lot of money that also don't even know how much money they're making, and they don't know what their net is. So that's something I've come to learn. I have it down to the penny now.
Nice. Awesome. That's very cool to hear. Now, you went just recently. Oh, sorry. Or something else you wanted to say? Something else that you had? Okay. You just recently went to the Responsicon. I have yet to go to one. I have been invited to every single one. And every time I'm like, I'm going to go, and then I don't get to make it out there. And this year, and usually it's always some tie between it's got to either be Responsicon or it's got to be the IWCA convention. I always side with the IWCA. Of course, last year I didn't go to either because of COVID, and this year's I'm heading there. Tentatively nervous, but honestly, it's actually the transmission rate lower in Orlando than it is in my town right now where I'm at. Yeah, so I'm excited to go and to get learning again and get my business juices flowing. So what were some things that you learned from, because this is your first one, right? Your first Responsicon?
Yeah. So part of that. So I do have to give a huge shout out to Megan Likes and Jeff Likes, who recommended me to the scholarship. You could only be recommended. And they just really believed in me and felt that, they heard me calling saying, hey, I really want to take my business to the next level. And they recommended me. They thought I was a good fit and that I would make them look good in the process by completing the program. Because I completed the program and they felt like I really took it serious, they offered me Responsicon, like pretty much all expenses paid. Okay. So I got to go for free. I was, very fortunate. If you're on the fence about Responsicon or IWCA, the answer is go to both. If it fits in the budget, of course. They're so different. Yeah. And the way that they're structured. The Responsicon is very personal. It's very, you feel very one-on-one a lot of the time. And so if you are kind of somebody that's a little shy or new, and you gave this example with Dan about, just kind of showing up real quick to the convention, hi, bye, and then you're gone, because you're a little shy. Responsicon, you're going to like immediately feel like family, because it's not this, gigantic convention. But the most important thing that I've seen there, completely different from what I've seen from the other conventions, is that they have breakout sessions in 1 hour intervals. Yeah. At the end of the day, and basically, whatever you feel you need help with, whether it's marketing, your CRM, SEO, managing employees, keeping them, you break up into groups of about 6 people. And you have one person leading the group for 1 hour, and you write down what you need help with, and you create a plan with how you're going to achieve that. Or in real time, if you're working on your website, you go into it and you're fixing it in real time, and they're giving you guidance, and they're looking at what you have already and how they can improve it. Yeah. And before you even went home, you already won. You already took something from the convention. It's not one of those things where you went and heard somebody really cool speak and you're super pumped up. And then you're like, well, what do I do now? And you just completely forget about it. You go back to your old ways. So your value, your ROI is so immediate that it's worth it to go to it. Now, because it is a little smaller, they focus specifically on a few major things. Then the IWCA is more broad. You're going to get certifications, you're going to learn about safety. And then, you'll still get a few shy people, but for the most part, you're going out to a bar. There's a few people that you saw at the convention, you start talking shop. So that's also cool. They each do have their own thing, and they're very different. There's a lot of value to both.
So I saw a lot about bundles. What was that all about?
Okay. So now, you you use Responsibid way more than I do. I just got done with completing the course, so I'm barely going to start to implement it into our current day-to-day operation. But basically, is instead of offering like the good, well, you could still offer the good, better, best for prices. In this case, you're going to add already automatically. You're going to give them the gutter cleaning quote. You're going to give them the pressure washing of the pavement and the windows. And then you're going to add on there, it's going to generate, the savings that they're going to be getting from going with the bundle. And me, who offers like a variety of services, it's definitely right up my alley.
Yeah,
I can give them like a soft washing quote, a roof washing quote, window cleaning, pressure washing, and move in, move out cleaning. And it'll generate like this gigantic savings for them. And if they're like, no, I don't want it, I'll go on the cart. The price point that they're getting is going to show us a little bit higher. So, overall, they're going to want to go with the bundle. It makes more sense. So your average ticket's going to increase from like, average window cleaning 250 to 350. So now you're getting bundles where they're 800 to 1,200. And it's something new, and as far as I know, it's like really difficult to kind of get it on live onto the system. And I think they're going to be tweaking it a little bit. For the most part, it's been perfected, and there's so many variations to it that there's going to be some people that have success with it, and you can kind of hack it to where, man, I don't know if I'm saying too much, but you're going to be able to hack it because some people are testing new ways to do it, and I don't want to give away their all their
Yeah.
But then there's also ways to like do where instead of it's good, better, best, it's how often do you want it? So you're automatically giving them the option for returning service. And those, from a customer's perspective, they're like, oh, if those are my options, I got to go with one. Now you have you just retained a customer without even going out there the first time. So that's a few of the things that I saw from the bundles. And Megan, like, she's an expert.
Oh, so,
yeah,
Megan's she's awesome.
If you ever want to personally reach out to her, she's a few of the people that got to try it out before it went live, and she really knows her stuff on it.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, let me ask you mentioned a little bit about soft washing. How long have you been soft washing?
2 years, like about 2.5 years, I think, because the memories just showed up on Facebook from when I first bought my system, the little Clever. I think it's about 2.5 years now.
Okay, so 2.5 years. So what are your challenges that you meet with that? I've been on the fence, ever since we had that Flowmy roundtable. We talked a little bit about soft washing. I've been going back and forth, and I've talked to different things. The biggest thing is just the initial investment, in supplies. What's the cost? What's the plus minuses of you doing it? Is it something you enjoy doing? Is it something that if you had to choose between window cleaner and soft washing, what would you choose? Where is it at in your little spectrum?
So today's a perfect example. We turned a $500 ticket into a $1,250 ticket. Finished up the job by 11 o'clock. Started at 11. By 11 o'clock, we were done. It took 3 guys. It could be done with 2 because I have one guy who's still kind of training, but it could easily be done with 2 experienced people in the same amount of time. So my ticket prices have jumped significantly, and the amount of time that it takes me to do it with the amount of chemical that I'm using doesn't even compare to window cleaning. It's significantly higher. Now in the West Coast, it's a new concept. So the battles that I'm facing with soft washing is that people don't know about it.
Yeah, that's what I would be fighting down here.
Yeah, so like what I'm trying to do is trying to like kind of hack the way I talk, where I'm saying like the verbiage of, we're going to be washing your house. I don't use the word soft wash because then it confuses people. So I try to avoid soft washing, and they ask, wasn't that going to damage the paint? Well, thank you for bringing that point up. And then I can go into a little bit more detail and let them know about, the pressure that we're using, how it's not going to damage their siding, and they've had bad experiences with pressure washers. So people who have already had pressure washers, it's great because they tend to go with my service more often than not. But it's still a very new concept over here, especially roof washing. It's so new that it's hard to close those a little bit more. Right now, what's really helping me out is that our biggest customer that we have is a real estate agent. She's like a mogul. She's like top 10 in the whole country.
Wow.
She wants all her house washed. So we've been doing a lot of software. We're just like guaranteed to wash a house if she hires us to do the
That's
job.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's also been like super helpful because she notices the difference. Like, I don't need to paint it. Go ahead and soft wash the house, get rid of any bacteria growth, make it look good. Cause I'm going to come in and I'm going to sell the house ASAP. We're washing it Wednesday, Thursday, by like Saturday, it's sold.
Wow.
You know, that's how she works. Yeah. She's amazing. So that's
Very
really
cool.
helped us to kind of like push the concept a little bit more. So a few more people are starting to learn, and she'll give us away to some of her real estate friends and family. And we've been pushing the service a little bit more. If I had to pick between window cleaning and soft washing, I'd go soft washing all day long. For the most part, it's dirt that we're dealing with. We do get some bacteria, but I could just X-jet that. So if you have a small pressure washer or a large one, I have a trailer. You could get away with either one. You add the X-jet attachment, which, helps the siphon soap from a bucket, or, if you have already a container built in, and you'll spray out the soap and you just come back and you rinse it. And so you're in and out of these houses, standard 2,000 square foot house, you should be done in about 3 hours, if that. And I'm average ticket for soft washing the house is between 500 to 800 for me.
Nice.
So it's on my end, it's a no brainer. Maybe initial investment. Like for me, I wanted the big pressure washer, but you don't need that. If you already have one, or if you have a small one, it's going to cost you $1,000, maybe $2,000. You're going to make that back no problem. Especially someone like you who's already well connected in the community. You can bring that on board, and I see 3-4 jobs, you get your money back.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, because with Responsibid, all we have to do is just add as a different option on there, and it's instant advertising to my new clients, and then we just send out some email blasts letting my regular customers know, that this is a service we now offer. I can see it being an easy add-on. What kind of chemicals are you using? I mean, do you have any issues with like ecological issues, with the water runoff, that type of thing? Okay.
No, not at all. That's actually what I was about to bring up to you, is like, there is that general fear. I mean, I lived with it for a few months when I started it. But to be honest, as long as you understand what not to do, like with most things that you learn, understand what not to do and what the purpose of the chemical is, like really understand what it's doing. Not to this day, I've never had one single issue. I haven't killed a single plant, thank God. And basically just taking the proper steps to prep before you even get started. Like, we go through, and if there's plants below, we soak them. We don't just wet them. We soak them, let the roots get full so they don't absorb chemical. We wet the leaves. We're rinsing down if there's no gutters down below. We're mostly using degreaser for house washing, and for roof washing, we would need to use bleach or SH 12.5, and then we just dilute it as needed. Over here in California, we have a huge problem with California gold, which is like a cousin of algae. It's technically not algae. It's a cousin of algae, and it grows in really dry temperatures. So the roots are really stubborn. We really got to go strong with the bleach. So we just, we try and use some like lemon scent to mask the smell as much as possible. That's the worst of it, is the smell. And then other than that, we just make sure we're not damaging anything down below. It's like window cleaning. You're going to make some mistakes along the way, but because I took some certification class and I understood what not to do, it's been very minimal stuff. Like, the worst of it was, we had one customer who she had her front door always hit the sun. So the paint was already oxidizing. So the little bit of bleach that sprayed on it stained it. But it was, the door was already completely like, it was oxidizing, paint's coming off. Before anything, I took responsibility, and I hired my friend who's a contractor, came and painted it for like $80. He does it for a living, so he really didn't charge me much. And, that's like the worst experience I've had so far. Nothing with, killing any plants or anything like that.
Yeah. Have you ever tried any like Enviro, like EBC has a Enviro Bio?
We use own EBC for degreaser. For all our house washes, we only use EBC.
Okay, very good. And then, so the stronger stuff is mainly going to be like to kill algae, mildew, that type of thing.
That's really the only time you'll ever need is SH is when you're treating organic growth. Other
Gotcha.
than that, our go-to is EBC.
Yeah.
If you need more chemicals, you're probably pressure washing by that point, and
Gotcha.
I don't think that's not something that you're interested in getting into.
No.
So soft washing, you're pretty much good to go.
And the nice thing about Tucson is we don't have mildew or anything. I mean, it's too hot for anything like that. We don't have any growth on our buildings.
Yeah, I mean, I really tried to look for it when I was out there visiting you. You really didn't have much, man. That's so true.
No, we don't. And so it's like you were talking about in educating the customer, it being a hard sell because they just never heard of it. That's what soft washing is here. I had one of my clients, they had a wall, like a metal wall that had some staining from where the screws had gone in, and like a little rusting coming down from the screws. Yeah. And he was asking me, I said, well, look, I don't do that. That's going to soft washing. He's like, what's soft washing? And I said, well, it's just a spray, it's got some chemicals that'll help dissolve, and he just had never, ever heard of it. So he wanted me just to take my water fed brush and scrub over. I said, well, I'll do that. I'll take the dust off of the wall, but it's not going to get rid of those little stain marks, those rust marks.
Yeah.
So
that kind of goes back to sales, right? Like I used to fix computers when I was in high school, and I would really want to let them know how much I knew about computers at the time. Mm-hmm. And I'd go into like super detail and about what does what and what it could be. And it could be these 5 problems. At the end of the day, they just wanted to know, can you fix it?
Can you fix it?
Yeah. And I would lose so many customers because I made it so complicated. Then when I got into window cleaning, I did the exact same thing. I would get so excited and I would nerd out because I just took this one course and I had to let them know what I knew and nobody else knew and why I was so good at it. They didn't care. Yeah. So if you do start soft washing, they don't care if it's soft washing. They just want the house washed.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to live it.
Yeah, and then now if you got to differentiate between you and a competitor, then you could be like, well, we are insured and bonded. That's the stuff that they care about, like, oh yeah, well, we're insured and bonded, and we're going to make sure we're going to use techniques that are approved by the manufacturer. And that's it. That's usually more than enough to get them. And yeah, I've lost 1 or 2 customers, one to a competitor who I actually personally knew. And, what he told the customer was a complete lie. But hey, the customer, that's their problem now. It didn't hurt my feelings. Yep. I didn't have to deal with that customer. Ultimately, they wanted like the cheaper price. And good for you. You're not my customer. Let me get somebody who just wants a house wash by somebody who's insured and bonded. And that's it. Yeah. So don't go too much into detail.
Yeah, that's good advice for sure. And the only reason I'm getting closer to it is, one guy I've had for a while. He's done pressure washing, soft washing before. He worked for another company that did that. But this guy who I just hired in October, he's very experienced window cleaner. Has been doing it for 25 years. But wow. He comes from the Pacific Northwest, so he's very knowledgeable on soft washing and pressure washing. And so he asked me, he's like, well, are you going to start doing that? And I said, well, we don't really do that out here, And he's like, well, I know how to do it. If you ever want, get the equipment, I'll do the training, I'll do whatever. And he's like, we can do soft washing, easy add-on, And so I'm taking little baby steps towards there. Especially now that our ladder work is gone, Now I'm trying to like, okay, well, what am I going to branch out to fill that gap? Not that it's a huge gap because we don't really have a whole lot of 2-star. Most of it we can water fed, and then the other stuff we can, take the window off and clean them, on the side or whatever if we need to. But just trying to react, to instead of, or be proactive, I should say, instead of reactive. Try to make those wise decisions.
I think all signs are pointing to you starting soft wash. I mean, you got a guy who's experienced. You got another guy who's done it in the past. You got a guy who knows yourself. Who knows how to create these funnels to bring in those customers. Yeah. The hardest part, is bringing in customers. You have them already. Now you just said, I just got to click a button and offer it as an option, and that really is it. And there's people who have more experience with Responsibid than myself, like Megan, who she can hack everything about it in a million different ways. I'm pretty sure, there's a handful of people who are willing to help you to create the bundle, and just start including it. And you're gonna I feel that there's no wrong you can do by offering it. You're not pressure washing, which I know you have a big fear of messing stuff up.
Yeah, and I don't want the equipment of pressure washing, and all that
Yeah,
stuff necessarily. But soft wash, that's an easy add-on. I mean,
yeah.
we're going to be there to clean the windows anyways.
You could get
Um,
like myself. I have I have the pressure washer what I used to XJet, but if I do roofs, I have a 12-volt system,
hmm,
and it already came with the reel. I really just got to screw it on to the back of my truck if I wanted to. I choose not to because I also have it for personal use, but
yeah,
I love that little system. Then you learn to carry a few extra tools, like it is with window cleaning. You carry an extra battery. You're charging your battery for an hour before you go out and use it, and it lasts you throughout the day. Like
yes.
there's going to be a little bit of a learning curve, but once you get it, especially with somebody who's already trained,
Hmm.
man, you should make your money back like ASAP.
Hmm. Very cool. Very cool. Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much. That's some good stuff. A lot of stuff for me to chew on for sure, personally. But speaking of chewing on information, we also have the IWCA convention coming up next week. I'm very excited about it. So why don't we talk a little bit about that? What we can expect. I looked a little bit over the different classes that are going to be available. I'm starting to pick mine out that I want to do. So why don't you tell me a little bit about some of the preparation that's gone into it since you're a board member now, and
Wow! Wait,
what
you're
things we can.
going? That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there. Well, I wasn't sure. I was waiting right up until the last minute, and then as soon as
Yeah.
I needed to cancel, the flight and cancel the hotel and get my money back, we had a conversation with my wife, and I was like, "Am I going to do this, or am I going to?" We decided, yeah, it's since I missed last year, I kind of it kind of hurt us to not go, so I really want to make sure I make it this year. So I'll be
Good,
there.
man. Awesome. Um, well, we're partnering up with the PWNA, so it is going to be this massive um, convention compared to previous years. I'm relatively new to the organization, so I can't compare it that far back.
Hmm.
But from what I've heard, even 10 years till now, this is definitely going to be one of the biggest ones. And then booths are basically sold out, so expect a good variety on a lot of the vendors, which to me it's a win-win, for the vendors and for the people that are showing up. You get to
Hmm.
see a lot of the latest equipment and just interact with a broader audience as opposed to just window cleaning. You're going to get a lot of pressure washers, so I think that's going to be really exciting. Make sure you get your certifications on there. If you're bringing employees, have them signed up ASAP. You don't want to wait till the last minute, and make sure that they're coming back with some real knowledge. I'm taking two of my guys, so I have them signed up for a lot of the safety certification courses. What else am I missing? I'm like running a blank because I didn't expect you to ask me right away, but let me. I'm trying to think.
Well, I was amazed with how much PWNA classes there are. They've got the flat work, wood certification.
So
Um,
the thing with PWNA is that their event got canceled out in New Orleans. It
oh, I
only made
see.
Yeah. So I was actually supposed to go. I was super bummed out, but I'm glad that it worked out the way it did. So now we got everybody. The majority of their classes that they were offering over there, they're going to be offering them with us over here.
Okay.
And it's going to make for a really just a prosperous convention. So I cannot stress enough how important it is to go to this one, because the variety that you're going to get, it's not every year. It's
Right.
really just the perfect storm for all things that went
For
bad.
sure.
We're like, well, let's make the best of it. Let's work together and let's see what we could do. So you are going to get some quality classes out there, bigger variety than ever before.
Very cool. Yeah. And I'm looking forward. I see a few on here that are pretty cool. So it looks like Megan is going to be part of the Fight Club panel. Is that going to be in there?
Yeah,
Speaking
I
of
love
Megan
that.
likes, so I'm going to try and make that one for sure, because I love the Fight Club podcast. They have some really good people on there, and that's like my weakest part of being a business owner is the whole accounting part, the whole being a responsible business person and in the numbers, and as much as I do enjoy, I mean, I've always liked math. It's just the financial part of it is not fun for me, so
Yeah, she has
uh
an academy. If you're ever looking to sign up,
mhm,
she has I signed up for it recently. I think it's like 4 classes,
mhm.
and then you get like a certification through her academy. And I mean, she really knows her stuff. She's not just, she just started doing it as like a fake guru. Like she really knows her
Right.
stuff.
No, she does. Yeah. I've had some nice conversations. And that's the other thing. She's just so generous with her time,
Yes.
I try not to bug her too much because she is everywhere. she's doing so much. But she really does. I trust her advice 100%. If I ask her something and she says, well, this is what I think, but you got to make your own decision. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna do whatever you say because I trust it. So yeah, she's pretty cool.
Yeah, I know there's some changes to the Rds training. So
yes,
basically
right.
there's going to be some up-to-date information. So I highly recommend anybody who does Rds to take some classes and make sure you're up to date on information, because it is ever evolving. Myself, I don't do it, but I know it's really important, and they've been working on this for a long time to be able to provide this information. Definitely sign up for one of those classes if you do offer it. Mike Draper from Expert Safety Services. You can't go wrong with those classes. Make sure you guys are coming back and they're not, falling off a roof or doing anything that would be considered an OSHA violation.
Absolutely.
Those are going to be the safety classes. I'm signing up my guys for anything related to safety. There's going to be some basic window cleaning techniques for some newbies, which I'm having my newest guy take. Just to make sure that he's continuing to practice good technique and, make a little more per hour, because he's a little bit of a slow learner.
Yeah, I got one young guy. I just had a heart-to-heart with him, and he's been with me over a year now. And so I just was like, hey man, we got to figure out what your next gear is. You just got one more gear that you're not shifting up into. And because he's got the technique down, his quality has improved greatly. He was, when I first hired him, he was a little shaky. I kind of had to tell people, hey, you guys got to check up on his work. But now he's got the quality down. So it's like, I know that when he goes to a job, he's going to do a good job as long as it's within his skill set. And I'm just like, you're right there, man. I could give you such a good raise right now if you just had if you just shifted up one more thing and got this job done a half an hour earlier, so he's right there.
It's so fun. I just had a heart-to-heart. I'm exactly in the same position as you. This guy, he shows up on time every single day. If he has a doctor's appointment, he lets me know 2 weeks in advance. And the night before, he checks, hey, remember I told you about the doctor's appointment? Which, I mean, those are gold, you have to find people like that. Amazing customer service. He apologizes to customers for like the slightest thing, but the customers feel welcome. Like, hey, thank you for having patience with us. I apologize. We're in there a little bit longer. Those windows were a little rougher than expected. And customers like, oh, no worries. Thank you guys. Just puts them at ease while we're in their home.
Yeah.
And just the speed. I'm just trying to get it to the next level. And he kind of spaces out a little bit, we're doing a window. And he just kind of like looks over at us like, what are you guys doing over there? And I'm like, hey, Vince, get on the next window, bro. Yeah. Oh, okay, cool.
I've had a few employees who the concept of urgency just it did not exist, and it's like I'd be like, hey dude, we're half an hour behind. Oh, okay, all right, and then he's looking around, he's checking things out. I've had a few like that.
I've tried different things. Like I've timed them on like averages that he should be hitting. And I did one myself where he was like comparing like, okay, so you're averaging this much time per window with track and this and that.
Yeah.
That seemed to work for a little bit. And then I left him on his own and it kind of went back.
That's it.
And then so I was like, hey, you know what? Like, I'm just going to put a GoPro. I told him this today. I'm just going to put a GoPro. You're going to forget that it's even there. And I want you to see how many times you stop once you're done with your window. You look back at the other guy and you're like, oh, okay. So that's what you did with that one window, huh? And then he's like, like circles the bush one way, circles it the other. What's going to be the best way to do this one, And then goes and grabs a step stool from the van. I'm like, no. He's a great guy, and he's the one I've been the most lenient because he has all these great qualities.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly. And that's the thing. I told him too. I said, look, I'm not telling you this because I'm unhappy with your work, because we love having you. You're a great employee. So all those other things you mentioned, he's just, you can depend on him. If I ask for extra hours, he's usually one of the ones that's like, hey, I'll do it, man. If you need help, I'll do it. So he's got all these other great qualities. It's just that mentality of being able to be focused. But like what you said, when I had this heart to heart with him, before I did, we got to the job. It was a commercial one, all easy commercial windows. And I said, hey, keep up with me. This is your one job today, is keep up with me. And so we went, and he matched with me, and I was going fast, and he kept up with me, and we finished the building. And I said, how long did it take you to do this last time? And he's like, yeah, it took me like 4 hours. I said, we did it in 1 hour, dude. We did it in 1 hour. So what that means is you could do it in 2 hours because you were going as fast as me. Right. So I said, so why is it taking you 4 hours to do this job? Because it's a big building. There's a lot of distractions. There's pretty flowers out here. It's kind of in a little nature area. I said, that's what it is. And so you got to stay focused. This is your job, and we got to blast through this, man. We got to get this done. So just helping them to see that what they're capable of. I think that's a lot of the big keys. So for sure. Right. Just helping that. Anyway, I'm hoping that there's I hadn't seen one yet, but there's some employee training classes in here. Yeah. I know one that I did want to. I always love Kurt Kempton's school classes that he gives. He's got one on the sale process.
You know what? I got to see him in person for the first time ever. Mm-hmm. You just fall in love with him as a human being.
He's a nice guy. Yeah.
I mean, nice guy. The nice guy does not do him justice. He has the biggest heart in the world, man. I absolutely adore that guy. I drank the Kool-Aid. I'm sold. I believe in him, like that's how I left Responsicon. Like I'm actually bringing my fiance Joyce, because I feel like there's a lot she could gain from it. She came with me, but she wasn't part of it. Mm-hmm. She just traveled with me. I didn't want to go out there by myself. Finally convinced her to go. She got to meet Megan and Taylor and Martha and like just these really great, powerful women in the industry. And so I'm bringing her, and I'm bringing two other friends of mine who do Danny from GD Burger. I know you've seen his Instagram post. Mm-hmm. He's the one that owns the restaurant.
When I go over, we're going to hit that place for sure. We're going to hit GD Burgers, because I feel like I know the menu by heart now from all the Instagram posts. So I'm like, we're going to have to make 3 visits when I'm out there just so I can get the stuff that I want to get for sure. But Martha Woodward has a class too. Does your culture attract and retain top talent? So that's one that I definitely.
Oh my God, she's amazing too. I loved her. I just wanted to hug her all the time. She's so motherly. Yeah, she knows what she's talking about. Clearly, she's been off of her business for years now. Yeah, and you just systemize it. She's traveling literally the whole world, and she's running her business.
Yeah, I got to interview her on one of the Flowcasts last year, and she really impressed me. Yeah,
I gotta go back and watch it because I don't remember seeing that one. I'm pretty good about seeing all the episodes. I'll have to check it out. Yourself, I feel like you could benefit a lot. Another one who I drank the Kool-Aid was Brandon Vaughn. He's a keynote speaker, and he's going to be having breakout sessions within his presentation. So it's kind of similar to what I mentioned about Responsicon. You're going to break down, you're going to work on strategies to grow your business. So I highly recommend to sit in his class. I know he's presented a lot at the Huge, but he said he's got a little something extra special up his sleeve for the IWCA. So business owners, definitely check that out. I'm going to sit in his class. I've already seen his presentation twice, and I'm going to go again because I'm always learning something from him.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. All right. Well, it's setting up to be a really good convention. I'm looking forward to it. So we'll see. I don't know if haven't been on a plane in a couple of years, so I'm out of practice. I'll have to see if I remember all the all the stipulations there that you got to do. I wonder how much it's changed. You guys flew, or did you drive when you went to Responsicon?
We drove. We drove. I just created a word. We drove to Arizona.
It's now a real word. I'm going to start using it. We drove.
Yeah, we drove there. Now we've been flying around a lot, especially last year. I got to fly a lot more than I ever have. And I was definitely concerned, having deaths in my family from COVID. So I had to take that into consideration. But, if you are on the fence, all the respect in the world to you, to whatever your choice is. On my end, as long as you're doing your part and really actually knowing how safe it is to fly, you do go with the peace of mind, because all these systems that are supposed to be there to make the air, cleaner, I think the airplane is one of the safest places you could be during a pandemic, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it really is. The airport is actually more dangerous than the actual airplane because
Exactly.
of how much they filter the air, for sure.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
everybody's wearing their masks, so we're taking our safety precautions at the convention ourselves to make sure everybody's feeling, just safe and welcome overall.
Yeah.
Highly
Well,
encourage everybody that can or is on the fence. I'm going to give you that little extra push, and if
yeah.
it's a hard
Yeah.
no, that's okay. We understand.
Yeah, absolutely. And like Feb and Sarah, they're not going to be able to go, not necessarily because of COVID fear, but COVID in a roundabout way, it affected their business, and they got sick, and then some others got sick, and they've just had kind of an up and down. So they're already really behind, and they just felt they couldn't take a week out of their work right now. I feel so bad for them because they have such a strong company as far as quality and reputation, and I really hope that they just find some. I guess they did find one good worker that they're happy with. But if they could just have like two solid technicians who are experienced and know what they're doing and could give them a break, they could really take some time and grow that business. I mean, they're doing well. I don't want to make it imply like they're not. It's just they're working way too much in the business than they need to, for the reputation that they've built. And that's why I tell a lot of people with my business, and they ask me about, oh, how do you get to whatever, because it's not like I'm huge, but I'm getting to where it's stable. And I just say, you have to view your reputation as a commodity. And if you have a good reputation in your community, that carries a lot of weight. And what that does is that gives you the confidence. Because, I had a worker, who he was my number two previously, and he had his own business. He's always been very open with me, and that he wanted to go on his own. And so this year, last October, he went on his own.
Yeah, I got to meet him.
And you get to meet Andrew.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that's right. We were on a job together, right? So he's on his own now. He's doing really well. He's pretty happy. But he was buying supplies, and he sent me a message. He said, "Gabe, I just got to tell you, I got a brand new respect for you." He's like, "I didn't realize how well you treated us." He's like, "I just went to the local janitorial store, and I went to go buy the supplies that you buy." And he goes, "And I had I had sticker shock." He's like, my credit card felt shook when it went to the slot. He goes, "I had no idea how much the stuff that we just took for granted that you gave us to do our job, how much it cost." Yeah. And I was like, "Yeah, well, I mean, that's what are we buying? Or what are we paying for? We're paying for our customers to get the best quality stuff. That's why I can charge what I charge. That's why we get the reputation, because the good, better quality items means, as part of the result of or results in good quality windows. So then we build on that reputation. And then what that means is that now the next time someone says, 'Hey, your price is too high,' I can say, 'Well, okay, then maybe I'm not your window cleaner. Go find someone who's cheaper.' And I'm fine with it. And so I can be selective in who I hire. And then what that means, now I've got the income to afford the good stuff, and it's that circle that you want to get into. It's one of those good circles that feeds itself, because now you can maintain that good quality work, because you can afford to buy the good quality items to give to your employees to do the job.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. That's one of the main reasons why I'm taking my guys, because I want them to see the back end of the business and just have this appreciation for why I'm doing the things that I'm doing, and like how much it really is costing me, and I'm completely transparent. Like this, how much it costs to take you guys. This how much the Airbnb I got for them. This how much, and I told them, if you guys do good, I'll get you guys a hotel at the convention, because it was like another $800 to have them get in the hotel, so I was like, it's going to get an Airbnb and save some money. And I could already tell just from like the little bit that I've shared with them, they do have a new like founder appreciation for what the company's trying to do for them. And then also I want them to see how expensive the equipment is that they're getting, because I just got them this brand new Gardner, the 10-foot extension pole.
Yeah.
They lost one already.
Yeah, dude,
and I'm just like, that was $200, bro. What are you guys doing? And then I was going to build them like this leather case so they could strap it around them and carry the pole in the back like a ninja, just because I thought that was cool, right? I was like, I'm not going to get them the leather case. They're going to lose that too.
You can't take care of your paws.
Yeah. So
You're talking about the red Gardner one?
Yeah, the red Gardner one.
Yeah, I had that too. Yeah, I had that one too.
They haven't lost it, have they?
Yeah, it's gone. Yeah.
Oh, it's gone.
It's gone. Yeah. I mean, and I also get the triple what is it? The Triple Crown Silver from ABC. I like their short trad poles. They're 12 footers. Yeah, I like those a lot. I mean, they work for trad really well. I'm really happy with them. And 12 foot is like perfect for me. That's the height I like, is 12 footer. 10's fine. And I have several 8 footers. I have a bunch of cheap 8 footers that I get at Home Depot, because those ones, I don't care if they lose it, it's $15. But those ones I have, every truck has a 12 footer, and then it'll have either a 20 or a 16 footer, just for if there's a need for it, just it has that on there. And I always, same thing, I'm like, okay, look, see these other ones, don't lose them, but if you lose them, it's not a big deal. This one, don't ever lose that for no reason whatsoever. If you're closing up and you look and those 2 poles are not there, go find it, because always check there to make sure those 2 poles are before you leave a job, and they lose them. And that one kid I was telling you about, same thing. He went to go do a commercial route, and he came back, and I was kind of, I always do a little check on the truck, see if there's supplies that need to be done. It was gone. I say, hey, where's that pole at? Oh, which one? The Triple Crown. Oh, did you have it today? Yeah. When did you last have it? And I'm going like I'm a parent telling the kid, you know. And at the end, it was just like, oh, God, I don't know where I left it. Sorry, and I'm just like,
what I'm gonna try to do is involve him in the buying process.
Mm-hmm.
One of them, he knows exactly what it costs, because he orders a lot of this stuff already. He has a company cart, and he'll just go and order some stuff. The new guy, I want him to see the equipment, use it, play with it at the convention, and then I'll let him pick, like, yo, which one did you like? I'll buy it for you, but you're responsible for it. And if you lose it, I'm going to take you back to the standard stuff that we've been using forever. And hopefully he does get a little more appreciation for all that stuff.
Yep.
We'll see how it goes.
See how it goes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But it's good. Training's always, it's just a constant thing. We just got to get used to doing it. And actually, I think I'm setting up for another Flowcast, because we were talking about this in the mod group. So Kevin said, oh man, I have to see if I can find it before we get off here, since we're just about done with time. But I told him I'm gonna put this on a pillow and take it to the IWCA and just leave it in his room, so he'll know that I was there. But we were talking about training, just the difficulty that we had with training employees. The FEBA was asking for advice on how we could help, do that. Oh, here he goes. I found it. So here's what Kevin says. He says, the difference between training, instruction, and education. So Kevin says, you train a dog. They can sit, lay down, roll over. They'll do what you tell them, but they're reliant on you to tell them to do it. Instruction, knowing procedures and a method or two to handle problems. They're less reliant on you, but they still don't know everything. Education, knowing what to do, how and when, with the ability to think and act independently of you. And he's like, that's what you want to educate your techs. You don't want to train them. You don't want to just instruct them. You want to educate them. And then if you can educate them and they are an educated window cleaner, they will act as an independent person in the way that you want them to act. And that's it. I'm going to put that on a pillow. I'm going to paint it on my wall in my office for the guys to see, because that's exactly it. That's what it is. If we can educate, and also I would add empower our techs.
Empower the tech. I love that.
Yeah, we just had a conversation about bidding, about estimates, and because sometimes my techs are afraid to give prices because they don't want to be wrong. They're afraid of giving a wrong price or underbidding or whatever. And I just told them, I said, look, guys, I trust you. You guys are out there. You know how long it takes. You know what my my rates are normally. If you get there and you do the window count and the number seems a little off, go with your gut. Add $20, $50 more, whatever it is, or take it down if there's some reason why you think it should be taken down. I trust you. You have the permission to do that. Now, if you get it wrong, then we'll make the change the next cleaning. Just, finish the job. At the end of it, say, hey, after doing the job, I realize we undercharged you for this and this. We're going to honor the price we gave you. But just so you know, if you would like us to come back again, this is what the new price will be, incorporating these problems that I just found out, whatever. I said, I'm fine with that. I don't need you guys to be perfect. What I need is to not have to get on the phone every time you're at a customer's house and walk you through the estimate, because now I'm taking time away from something else I'm doing, and I'm paying you to do this estimate. So do the estimate, Yeah. But I think they got it, and we'll see, see how it plays out. But that's part of that education, right? Is not relying on me to know what to do. If they understand it, they know what the procedure are. They're going to do the procedures, and then if we find out that it was wrong, well, then we got to relook at the procedures. Either one, they didn't follow the procedures right, or we got to make an adjustment on the procedures. There's something that we're missing. So we fix it,
Yeah, I think also, like, a lot of most owners are going to hate to admit this. I'm guilty of this. Is that we think a lot about our insecurities, and that stops us from empowering our employees. And I caught myself doing that. Where I was afraid when I first started cleaning windows and where the mistakes were going to be. And instead of making them feel like, they could do it, I'm like, well, don't do that. Be careful with this, and I was like this crazy, like, overprotective mother, and not letting them think for themselves. And it had more to do with me. And I hate to admit it, but it's true. I wasn't letting them, do their own thing and make their own mistakes. And I didn't trust myself to be a good enough teacher. And I hate to admit it, and it really bugged me when I first, and when it really hit me, I'm like, I don't trust myself to be educating them properly. So it made me reevaluate, do I have the systems in place to be educating them? Am I creating videos of how to do the procedure properly? And I'm not. And the reason why I felt like that's because I'm not a good trainer, I'm not a good leader in that aspect, and I just got to work on it. So, I think if we reflect on ourselves too as business owners, we're gonna and fix our own issue that we have, then we'll be better leaders, and we'll be able to help guide, better quality employees as well too.
Yeah, absolutely, 100% for sure. So yeah, it's a lot of good stuff that we can chew on here, and I look forward to seeing you this coming up week. It'll be great, and getting all the instruction and certifications and all the fun stuff that we gotta do. So
yeah, quick. Yes. I don't think you understand how nervous I was the first time I ever met you, man. I was too, and it made me think that I'm gonna see you again. But the first time that I met you, I was like a giddy schoolgirl, and I was so nervous, and my palms were sweaty.
That is hilarious.
And Fernando goes like, Gabe, you want to see Gabe? I was like, yeah, he looks like such a cool guy. I've talked to him on Facebook and Instagram. He's just somebody I want to get to know. And he goes like, oh, I'll call him. I'll tell him to come over to our hotel room. And he called me, and I was so nervous. And I got to share a beer with you, went to go visit you.
Yeah,
and, we're having this podcast, and it just blows my mind.
That's so funny. That's hilarious. I had no idea, because I showed up and we were just all buddies. We're all hanging out. Yeah. Who's the other guy who's in the room? I forget his name.
I don't. He's out from NorCal.
Yes, he was Northern California.
Ferdiani. I forgot his last name.
Yeah.
Ferdiani. He has a company with his father up north.
Okay. Is he still active in the IWCA or anything? I don't ever see him.
He wasn't really active in general. He was more just kind of going up to a convention.
Okay.
As far as I knew, he had a pretty successful window cleaning company up north, but he's not very active on social media.
Yeah. No, I definitely haven't seen him in ITF, but I would see him pop up in different things, but I haven't seen him in a long time. So
yeah,
cool. Well, maybe we'll see him.
I just wanted you to know that I was nervous when I first met you.
Well, okay. Well, I want you to know you didn't have to be. I had a great time with you guys. That was fun. I'm glad that he called, because I just came in, so. I was just fresh there. I'm like, hey, all right, well, I'm not going to be alone in my hotel room, just folding my clothes for the next day. Got to hang out with you guys, so that was pretty cool. Yeah.
Well, I'm excited, brother. Right. Let's make it a fun convention.
Sounds good, man. All right, well, you take care. We'll see you soon. Thank you, Flowmies, for listening, and as always, flow on.